You don't need another productivity app. You don't need another motivational speech. If you're procrastinating, there's one cure and you're not gonna like it, but it will change your life. This video is for anyone who's sick of starting and stopping. You wanna write the book, start the business, get healthy, or achieve some big goal, but every day you feel stuck. Here's the truth. Procrastination is not a time issue. It's not because you're lazy. It's because you're avoiding discomfort. It's actually a protectionary mechanism. And I get it because I used to be the king of procrastination. When I decided to write my first book, I wasted months preparing. And I got the software, I read the content, I watched the videos, but I never did the most important thing, which was actually start writing. And then one day, my brother and I decided, we were working together on this book, and we said, hey, let's just lock ourselves in a cabin for a week. It's a week, it's over Christmas break. That's the only way we're gonna get this thing done. We've got busy lives, busy schedules. So let's lock in for a week and let's get the rough draft of this book done in a week. That one step changed my life. Now I've written multiple best-selling books. I've built a multi-million-dollar company. We've scaled from 0 to over 75 million in the last decade. That company, selfpublishing.com, we've coached thousands of authors, and it all started by embracing discomfort and doing the thing that I didn't want to do. And the only real cure is action. It's not motivation, it's not more planning, it's not waiting until the timing is right. Here's the formula. Action first, clarity second, motivation third. A lot of people think that motivation is first. You know, there's this quote I love from Zig Ziglar. He says, motivation is like bathing. I recommend it daily. Motivation is great. It's helpful. It's important, but waiting for motivation is a trap. I think some people just, whether it's your book or your business, people are umming, and one day, magically, lightning is gonna strike and I'm gonna be motivated and this thing's gonna happen. One day I'm gonna find my purpose and then I'm gonna be so motivated that you won't be able to get in my way. Total lie, total scam. Not gonna happen, right? Waiting for motivation is a trap. Action creates momentum and momentum creates motivation. This is where I think so many people have it backwards. Motivation does not create momentum. Action creates momentum, and that momentum inspires you because you feel like, hey, I'm winning, I'm making progress. Like, the best motivator is progress. So you need to stop waiting to get motivated and start making progress. So repeating this for emphasis, action creates clarity, clarity creates momentum, and momentum creates motivation. So here's your 3-step blueprint to break procrastination forever. Number 1, shrink the task. All right, I want you to make it stupidly easy. So if the example is I'm writing a book, say, all right, I'm gonna write 100 words a day. If the thing that you're trying to do is get customers for your business, I'm gonna reach out to 5 people every day. If I'm trying to get fit, I'm gonna do 20 push-ups or 20 pull-ups every morning, right? I'm gonna shrink it to the largest thing that I can consistently do. Now for you, that might not be that large. I know for me, when I'm trying to tackle a big project, and we talk about this all the time with our authors, is like, well, what's the biggest commitment that you can make that you'll actually keep? So first, shrink the task, make it stupidly easy. And then secondly, do it now. I'll never forget when I was growing up, I had do it later syndrome, right? This is the procrastination just mantra. It's like, oh, I'll do it later. I'll do it later. I'll do it later. And I remember one day, there was all these things that my mom would ask me to do. It's like, Chandler, clean your room. I'll do it later. And there would be clothes at the bottom of the steps, and she would literally put it blocking the stairs, and I would step over it and walk up the stairs. I'm like, oh, I'll do that later. Hey, Chandler, mow the grass. I'll do it later. And then one day I came home from school, and there were these do it now stickies everywhere in the house. I'm talking everywhere. On the clothes. I couldn't go anywhere without seeing a do it now sticker. And it was my mom's nudge to do the thing that I knew that I needed to do. All right, so this, I'm not your mom or anything, but this is me just giving you a kind of a similar nudge. Stop overthinking it. Start before you're ready. I've got a friend that has a book. She calls it Ready is a Lie. Ready is a lie. You're never going to be ready. You got to do it now, okay? So for some of you, you need to start putting do it now stickies on the most important things that you need to do, right? And you need to stop doing all the dumb stuff that doesn't move the needle. All right, so that's number 2, do it now. Number 3, celebrate small wins. One of the best ways to create momentum is to celebrate the progress and momentum that you're already having. Now, I don't know about you, but I have historically been horrible at stopping to smell the roses and celebrate the wins along the journey. I think it's like maybe this weird type A thing or high achiever thing is like, by the time you achieve the thing, it feels like it just should have happened. And not only should it have happened, but it should have happened way earlier. So you don't stop to celebrate. Early on in business, I probably still do this. It's just, I would drive my team crazy and myself crazy because it's like, we would go after this big goal and then maybe we would finally hit it. It's like, oh yeah, that was the plan, right? So we hit it. Why would we need to celebrate? And I just realized it's just totally the wrong way of doing business, the wrong way of living life. I went to this flea market and I stumbled across this sign, and this sign spoke to me. And it's a sign that says, until further notice, celebrate everything. And so I bought it in shiplap. This is probably like a decade ago, and I've carried it with me ever since. We've got it in our boardroom as a reminder for myself and the team, until further notice, celebrate everything. So when you start doing the thing, you got to celebrate the small wins. Every action proves to your brain that you can do hard things, right? So until further notice, celebrate everything. And this kind of relates to this concept. It's called The Power of Habit. That's the name of the book. It's Charles Duhigg. And the concept within that book is, he calls it the habit loop, which is cue, routine, reward. If you're trying to do anything or change any habit, well, you have a cue automatically. Now, this might be a negative cue. This might be a positive cue, but that cue might be, I walk in the door from work. Okay. Now that routine might be, I switch out of my work clothes, kick my feet on the couch and start eating ice cream. You think that's good for me? Probably not. Right? But then the reward is a massive dopamine hit. So his whole principle is that, well, if you can just reorganize that in your favor. So you've got the cue, it's already happening, change the routine and shrink the task like we already talked about. Shrink the task, do it now, and then celebrate. I just highly recommend, when you're trying to beat procrastination, you got to turn the deck in your favor, use those 3 steps, and use the power of habit and the habit loop. Now, what happens if you don't do this? What happens if you don't beat procrastination? Well, the cost of procrastination isn't just your goals, it's your confidence. Every day you delay, you reinforce the story that you're not capable, that you'll start tomorrow, but every small action builds a new story. So you can be building a story that, oh yeah, I've just never followed through. Oh yeah, I'm just not really someone that implements. Or you can start creating a totally different story, which is, I'm a doer. I finish what I start. Right? You can take my word to the bank. I love the book called The 4 Agreements. And in that book, one of the 4 agreements is be impeccable with your word. I think the most important person that you need to be impeccable with your word is yourself. Because if you say that you're going to do something and you don't do it, you can't even trust yourself. And if you can't even trust yourself, who can trust you? So you got to be impeccable with your word and stop procrastinating on the things that are most important to you. All right, now as a recovering procrastinator, and I would even call myself an advanced procrastinator. I don't know if any of you watching this right now feel similarly. If you've been procrastinating for years, here's kind of some advanced stuff that helped me level up. Number 1 is public accountability. This is the biggest one. We recommend it with all of our authors. I recommend it for everyone. Tell other people your goals. I'll never forget when I was in Student Painters as a rookie manager, we went through the training and I walked up to the CEO. We had just done a goal setting session. I said, I'm going to be your number 1 in the company. I'm going to be your number 1 in the country. If I'm not, when we go on this rewards cruise, I was already assuming that I would go on this rewards cruise, but you had to hit like this big number to hit. I'm like, when we go on there, I'll buy you whatever bottle of wine you want. Do you think I was more or less accountable after making that statement? So I try to create public accountability where I will look like an idiot if I fail, because guess what happens? I don't fail. One of the simplest ways to stop procrastinating is, what's your commitment? All right, write it out. Now post that on your social media or go tell 5 people. I am going to write a book and I will finish the rough draft by X date. There we go. And so that kind of leads into the second advanced tip, which is to set deadlines with stakes. Okay, so you've got a deadline to get 5 customers. You've got a deadline to finish the rough draft of your book, and then have stakes if you don't hit it. So a couple ways that you can do this. You can make a bet with someone else on who will finish first. I kind of like that. Or you can make a bet with an accountability partner. We call these people accountability buddies. But make a bet with your accountability buddy. Say, hey, if I don't do the thing by X date, I'll give you $100. Another thing I've seen work well here is kind of like the fear of loss is better than the opportunity for gain. Well, it's donating to a charity that supports something you hate. I have a friend who does this and he says, all right, cool, I'm going to hit this thing. And if I don't, I'll donate $500 to this nonprofit that I hate what they do. Maybe it's killing puppies or whatever. It was like, all right, well, I don't want to do that. So I'm going to hit the goal. And his mantra, this is Dan Martell, he says, rewards, stakes, tell everyone. I think it's just such a simple and powerful framework. Reward, what's the reward if I hit it? What are the stakes if I don't hit it? Tell everyone. And then number 3, design an environment where success is inevitable. So remove friction, have your tools ready, have your workspace clean, whatever the thing is, so that when you step into that space, you're ready to lock in and you're ready to hit those goals. It can be something as simple as, I got my phone set up. It's really easy. It does it automatically where it goes into work mode. So when I show up to the office, it auto defaults into work mode, which mutes all of my notifications from people who aren't work people. Simple. You think I'm more or less productive because I do that, right? So it's removing the friction so that you're creating an environment where success is inevitable. And then number 4 is focus sprints. Okay, when I wrote my first draft of my first book, we said, hey, we're locking in for a week. That's it. Maybe for you, it's saying, hey, I'm going to give this my first 30 minutes of every day. We have this thing called the 30-day rough draft challenge, where people will write in 2 30-minute sessions for 30 days straight. At the end of that 30 days, most of the time people have most of a book. So create and commit to a focused sprint. At selfpublishing.com, we've helped thousands of authors overcome procrastination. Many went from I've been stuck for 10 years to my book is done in a matter of months. That's the power of action over planning. They didn't magically find motivation. They built momentum, right? In a lot of cases, they paid us to work with us, and people who pay attention. So where money goes, attention flows. So as soon as they paid us, they were in. They didn't need any motivation because they committed. That resistance you feel, it's a compass. The one thing you're most afraid of doing is probably the exact thing that will change your life. Stop waiting for perfect. Start small, start messy, but start. Now, as a first step for implementing this video, I want you to comment below with one thing that you've been procrastinating on and the tiny first step you're going to take today. I'm Chandler Bolt, CEO of selfpublishing.com, and I'm still learning this lesson and fighting this battle every single day. If you want practical ways to beat procrastination, to get your book done, or to build and scale an amazing company that you're proud of, hit subscribe. The future you is counting on it.